Welcome back. I'm Zach, and this is our space for honest, useful English you can use at work the same day you learn it. Today we're talking persuasion. Not tricks, just clear communication that helps people say yes.
And I'm Emily. If you're new here, we drop fresh episodes every week. Hit subscribe and follow so you don't miss the role plays and real stories coming up. They're practical, short, and easy to reuse in your own meetings.
Let me start with a quick story. When I was a junior analyst, my manager loved long status meetings. I told him, I think we're losing 2 hours a week without results. Then I showed a simple trade-off. Fewer meetings, but tighter written updates. A trade-off means choosing one benefit while giving up another. He gave me buy-in, that's agreement and support, for a 1-week pilot.
That worked because your idea aligned with his goal. Save time, stay informed. Align just means match your idea to what the other person cares about. Persuasion matters because most decisions at work are shared decisions, with teammates, managers, clients, and other stakeholders. A stakeholder is anyone who's affected by the choice.
So, how do we practice persuasion like a language skill, not a magic talent?
Here's a simple loop you can use this week. First, listen for the goal behind the words: time, money, quality, or risk. Second, mirror a key word to show you heard it. On quality. Third, frame your idea as a benefit to that goal. This change improves quality by... Finally, check gently. Does that help? That small check prevents pushback and opens a real conversation.
I also like micro-practice. Record a 60-second voice note making one clear ask. What you want, why it helps them, and the smallest next step. When you listen back, notice tone and stress. Sound steady, not rushed. That tiny habit builds confidence fast.
Quick vocab pit stop. Align means match. Trade-off is the balance you accept. Stakeholder is the person affected. And buy-in is the support you need to move forward. Short words, big power. My turn. Last month, our designer worried a new layout would delay launch. I said, I hear the timeline risk. Then I offered a pilot. 1 page, 2 days, clear metrics. Metrics are numbers that show results. We aligned it to her goal, protect the deadline, and got buy-in to test without stress. After 2 days, the data spoke for us.
That reminds me, persuasion isn't louder, it's clearer. One benefit, one risk managed, one small step. Simple beats fancy every time.
Quick recap. Listen for goals. Mirror a keyword. Frame benefits. Propose the smallest, safe step. And check in kindly. If this is helpful, tap subscribe now so the next sections, with live role plays, land right in your feed.
Before we move on, what's one decision this week where you need buy-in? Hold it in your mind. We'll help you shape the message for that exact moment.
All right, friends, let's dig in together. Clear, respectful, and specific. That's persuasive English. Ready for the next step? So here's a real one from last spring. Our mobile app kept crashing for a small group of users, and the big launch date was 2 weeks away. My manager, Marco, was stressed about the timeline and the press release. I needed to persuade him to do a staged rollout, not a big bang launch. Fewer users at first, then expand. The goal wasn't to slow us down. It was to protect trust.
What did you do first? Feelings or numbers?
Both, but in order. I started by showing I understood his pressure. I said, I know the date is locked and you're carrying the risk. Then I brought data. Crash rate by device, a chart of support tickets, and one cost estimate. I framed our biggest constraint, that's a limit you can't ignore, as a weekend engineering capacity. No drama, just the facts.
Nice. What was your opening line in the meeting?
I led with his goal. On the timeline, here's a way to hit the date and reduce risk. Then I said we could align the plan with what matters to him. No negative headlines on day one. Align just means match your idea to their priority. He leaned forward. Small signal, but good.
How did you keep the data from feeling heavy?
3 metrics only: crash rate trend, number of affected users, and time to fix. A metric is a number that shows performance. I added one sentence. Fixing 80% of cases will take 2 days. Then I offered a pilot, a small test, with 10% of users. If it went well, we'd scale within 48 hours.
And the pushback? Managers always have one.
He worried about scope creep and headlines. Scope is the size of the work. I mirrored him. You're right, the story matters. Then I showed the trade-off, choosing one benefit while giving up another. We take a 3-day slip on full rollout, and we cut day 1 bug reports by about 20%. He went quiet, thinking. I added, I know you're the one on stage if this breaks. That empathy line changed the room. He wasn't just a manager, he was a person trying to protect the team's reputation. His shoulders dropped. Tiny sign, huge meaning.
Quick recap. You matched his goal, showed 3 clean metrics, proposed a pilot, and explained the trade-off. Data plus empathy. That's a strong combo.
Exactly. Then I asked a gentle check. Does this make your week easier? That question helped him feel in control. He said he needed stakeholder safety. The execs wanted a clear story. A stakeholder is anyone affected by the decision. So I offered to write the update and take questions.
What piece of data actually turned the decision?
A tiny cohort analysis from our beta users. Crashes dropped 16% after 1 fix. I said, with 2 fixes, we can mitigate, reduce, most of the risk before full release. Mitigate is a great verb at work. It shows action without drama.
So, how did it end?
We agreed on a 2-week phased rollout, daily checkpoints, and a clear scope. I sent a counterproposal email to leadership. A counterproposal is an adjusted plan in response to the original. The buy-in came fast once they saw 2 charts and 1 paragraph. No long deck needed.
What was your most persuasive sentence?
I'm not asking for less speed. I'm asking for safer speed. It respected his goal and reframed success as fewer surprises. He smiled when I said it.
Vocabulary checkpoint. Buy-in means real support to move forward. Constraint is your hard limit. Mitigate means reduce the risk. Pilot is a small test. Trade-off is the balance you accept. Short words, big impact.
One more tip from that day. I mapped 1 KPI, key performance indicator, to the ask. Fewer day 1 bugs improves user retention, which was the VP's KPI. When your idea supports a KPI, people listen.
Quick wrap-up. Lead with their goal, show only essential metrics, add empathy, propose a pilot with a clear scope and timeline, and write a crisp counterproposal. That blend of data and care makes decisions easier and conversations kinder. Let's dig a little deeper into how we propose ideas without sounding pushy. 3 skills today: proposing clearly, hedging wisely, and keeping a confident tone so people actually want to say yes.
Quick story. Last quarter, I needed our finance lead to shift budget to customer support for 2 weeks. He was protective of the numbers, and I didn't want to fight. I walked in with 2 charts and a calm voice. I said, I know cash flow matters most this month. Then I paused. The tiny pause showed I heard him before I offered anything.
What did you say at the key moment, the sentence that moved him?
I told him, from what I'm seeing, shifting a small slice of budget now might reduce ticket backlog by 18% this week. The hedge is might. It softens certainty, but the tone stays steady and the number is specific. Then I added the smallest safe step. Could we try it for 5 days and review Friday?
My go-to shape is context, ask, safety. Context. Based on last week's metrics, ask. I think we could move 2 agents to chat support. Safety. We'll monitor hourly and roll back if needed. I used that with our ops lead and the meeting relaxed immediately.
Tiny vocab moment. Hedge means soften your claim. Words like might, could, seems at this stage. They don't make you weak. They make space for the other person. Pair them with concrete nouns, plan, timeline, budget, and a clear next step.
Here's a contrast from my week. I started with, we must move the deadline. He frowned. I reframed. Given the new scope, we might need a 1-week buffer to protect quality. Same idea, gentler door. He nodded and asked how the buffer would work. Progress.
Tone matters as much as words. I slow down on the benefit. This change will reduce escalations. Downward tone at the end signals confidence. Short sentences help too. When you rush, people hear uncertainty even if your data is great.
I also like a soft check. How does that land? Land here means how does it feel to you? It invites feedback without pressure. If there's tension, I mirror one word, timing, and then offer a smaller step. It keeps the door open.
Speaking of that, I asked our vendor, at this stage, could we pilot the new workflow with 2 clients only? At this stage signaled it's early. Pilot means a small test. She relaxed right away and said, 2 clients works. Send the scope.
Calibration words help too. Roughly, about, early signal, initial read. When stakes are high, they reduce argument and let people join the idea. Then you tighten numbers as evidence grows.
Quick recap. Lead with context, make one clear ask, add safety language, and use gentle hedges. Might, could, seems, at this stage. Keep tone steady, end sentences clean, and highlight the benefit.
1-minute practice I use. Write a single sentence with context, ask, safety. Record it, and listen for stress on the benefit. If the stress lands on the risk, rewrite it. Small tweak, big impact.
All right, that's the language backbone. Next, we'll handle objections with a simple rhythm. Acknowledge, clarify, respond, and check. So your ideas survive tough questions and still sound respectful.
Objections can feel scary, but they're not the enemy. They're a signal. Today we'll use a simple rhythm. Acknowledge, clarify, respond, check. 4 steps that keep the conversation human and move the decision forward.
I had a client say, "This proposal will blow the budget." My first move was acknowledge. I hear the budget pressure. Then I paused. Clarify came next. Is the bigger worry the upfront cost or the total cost over the quarter? That question opened the door. Once he said it was the upfront spike, I responded, "We can phase the work so the first invoice is 40% smaller, and we'll mitigate risk by locking scope for 2 sprints." Mitigate means reduce the risk. Scope is the size of the work. Then I did the check. Would a 2-week pilot with fixed scope address the budget spike? He exhaled and said, "That's reasonable." The objection wasn't a wall. It was a map to what he cared about.
Emily, what exact words helped most? The moment he softened?
2 things. First, mirroring his language. I used budget pressure, the same phrase he used. Mirror just means repeat a key word to show you understand. Second, I kept my tone steady and slow on the benefit. Smaller first invoice.
That reminds me of our stand-up last month. Our lead engineer said, "We can't hit the timeline." I acknowledged. Timeline matters. Clarified. Is the blocker the testing environment or the API contract? He said, testing. I responded, We'll shift one QA today and drop a non-essential feature. Then I checked. Does that unblock you by Wednesday?
Clean, specific, and respectful. And notice your clarify question gave 2 options. That's a friendly way to focus the conversation without pushing.
Quick toolkit for clarify. When you say X, do you mean Y or Z? Is the main risk cost, time, or quality? What would make this a clear no? Those questions turn fog into shapes you can handle.
Sometimes the objection is emotional. I'm not comfortable. I acknowledge the feeling. I get that. Then I ask, is it quality risk or role clarity? If it's role clarity, I respond with a simple responsibility map and check. Does this division of tasks help?
Vocabulary pit stop. Objection is the concern raised. Constraint is a hard limit. Scope is the defined work. Escalate means move the issue to someone with authority. Mitigate means reduce impact. Non-negotiable means something that cannot change.
Speaking of escalate, I once heard legal said no. I acknowledged compliance matters. Clarified, is it the data retention clause or cross-border transfer? It was retention. I responded with an alternative, faster deletion plus anonymization. Then I checked. If we anonymize after 14 days, does that satisfy policy? It did.
Small tactic. Summarize and stop. So your main concern is downtime during peak hours. Then be quiet. Silence invites correction or agreement. Either way, you move closer to yes.
Quick recap. Acknowledge the concern in their words. Clarify the exact risk. Respond with a specific, smaller risk option, and check gently for fit. 4 steps. Steady tone, short sentences.
If you want a tiny habit this week, write 4 lines before a tough meeting. I hear, is the main issue, one way we could, and would it help if? That script keeps you calm when the pressure rises.
All right, we've got the rhythm. Next up, we'll put it into action with live role plays so you can hear how the steps sound in real time and make them your own.
Practice studio time. We'll make persuasion sound real. 3 parts today. A quick role play, a short shadow, and a simple self-record routine you can use this week.
Scene 1. I'm asking my manager for a 2-day pilot to reduce churn in customer support. I walk in with one chart and a steady voice.
Manager hat on. Emily, we don't have time for experiments. The launch is close.
I nod. I hear the deadline pressure. Short pause. Given the spike in tickets, a 2-day pilot might stabilize support without slowing the launch. I slide the chart across. If it works, we scale by Friday.
What exactly are you piloting? And what's the risk if it fails?
We'll move 2 agents to live chat during peak hours. Worst case, we roll back in 1 hour. Best case, we cut escalations 15%. Downward tone on cut escalations. That anchors the benefit.
Notice the rhythm. Acknowledge the pressure, clarify the ask, add safety, end with a benefit. And the hedge, might, kept the door open without sounding uncertain.
Mini shadow if it helps. Given the spike in tickets, a 2-day pilot might stabilize support. Shadow means echo the sentence after you hear it. Feel the stress on stabilize support. Scene 2. Vendor pushback on cost. I'll be the vendor. Zach, you're proposing the plan.
On budget, I hear your concern about the upfront spike. What if we phase the work in 2 milestones and lock scope so the first invoice is lighter?
Phasing helps, but I'm worried about quality slipping.
Quality stays protected. The QA plan is unchanged, and we'll publish metrics daily. If any metric dips, we pause before milestone 2. Does that address the risk you're seeing?
If QA is unchanged and scope is locked, I can get buy-in for Phase 1. Quick vocab. Phase means split into parts. Lock scope means fix the work so it doesn't grow.
Quick recap. Both role plays used a small test, clear guardrails, and a gentle check question. Simple language, steady tone.
Self-record routine I love. 1 minute, 3 beats. Context, ask, safety. Example. Based on last week's metrics, shifting 2 agents to chat could cut escalations. Can we try it for 48 hours with hourly monitoring? Record it, then listen for stress on the benefit.
If your stress lands on the risk words, fail, delay, cost, rewrite so the weight falls on solution words, stabilize, protect, accelerate. That tiny shift changes how confident you sound.
Last nudge. Pick one upcoming decision at work and make a single sentence with context, ask, safety. Say it into your phone, adjust tone, and save the best take. That's your pocket script for the week.
Let's land this. Today we turned persuasion into habits. Context, ask, safety, acknowledge, clarify, respond, check, and steady tone with gentle hedges and clear benefits. To make it daily, I keep 3 tiny moves: a 60-second voice note for one ask, a 4-line objection map, and a stakeholder check. Whose goal does this help? My routine: morning, write 1 sentence that ends on the benefit. Midday, mirror 1 key word in a meeting. Evening, record a 30-second recap and listen for tone. Last Thursday, I used a guardrail phrase. We can move fast within these guardrails. Guardrail means a protective rule. When the test wobbled, I said, "We'll roll back. Return to the old setup." If your voice shakes, slow the last 5 words and let the pitch fall. This protects the deadline. 2 beats of silence signal confidence without sounding aggressive. I also keep a buffer sentence ready. Given X, we might need a short buffer to protect quality. Buffer is extra time or space so the work doesn't break. Before you close this app, picture 1 decision this week: headcount, budget, or timeline. What's the smallest safe step? Say it once softly, then with a firm finish. 7-day challenge. Day 1, write your ask. Day 2, record it. Day 3, shadow a strong line. Day 4, try a mini pilot. Day 5, handle 1 objection. Day 6, send a crisp recap. Day 7, reflect. Remember, persuasion isn't perfect grammar. It's clarity, respect, and a next step people can accept. Specific numbers help. So does a kind check. Would this make your week easier? If this helped, follow and share it with a teammate who's facing a tough call. Your support gives us the buy-in to make more role plays. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Take your 1 sentence, breathe, and make your case with care. You've got this.